It's more than simply a plan for a sports venue. It's a complex deal that involves hundreds of millions of dollars. The city already put up money for a baseball stadium. The city invested significantly in Verizon Center at the get-go, and it's put up money for upgrades. Why, in your view, would another stadium, a soccer stadium, be a good place for the city to invest public money rather than, say, on housing or schools or any other item on the budget?
Well, let me make one thing clear, Kojo, and I appreciate the question. This is not to the exclusion of those investments. And really, there's just an enormous demand for soccer in the city that is growing every day. The DC United has wanted to stay in the city. At one point, they were talking about moving to Prince George's County. I think they'd even entered into some kind of tentative deal. They were talking about moving to Baltimore. And then they actually introduced about a year ago, a new ownership group headed by Jason Levian. And we've been working with them ever since to find a way for the team to be able to stay in the city that would be a reasonable deal for the taxpayers. And we think this is a very reasonable deal. As you indicated, it is very complicated. But one facet of it is that we will be responsible for what we refer to as the horizontal development, and the team will be responsible for the vertical development. What does that mean? It means that we will do the infrastructure investments, preparing the site for the construction of the stadium. The team, however, will be responsible for actually constructing and paying for the stadium. Very much like the Verizon Center deal that Abe Poland was involved in back in the 90s, where the city was responsible for the site, and Abe Poland at the time and the teams were responsible for constructing the Verizon Center. There are other facets of this, too, that are, I think, interesting and will have a catalytic effect for us here in the city. For example, we're going to be involved in land swaps in order to be able to fulfill our part of the commitment. One example, Ackridge, the Ackridge Company, owns a very substantial piece of land in the site that we're proposing for the stadium. So they're going to give up the land for the stadium, and we're going to swap with them the site of the Reeves Center, which is at 14th and U Streets Northwest. We then are going to rebuild the Reeves Center over in Anacostia, over in the east end of the city, which we think will have a major impact on economic development in an area that really needs that kind of development.